This is Chris Hansen.
Chad doing Rip City Radio here.
It's your favorite basketball player, Tyler Hansbrough.
This is Jamie Hudson.
This is TJ Hoochmanzada.
And I'm going to let y'all know something.
Duke sucks and Duke will always suck.
You're listening to
It Just Makes Sense.
It Just Makes Sense.
Football is back, and so are we, boys. Listen, this podcast is not about being right. It's about being entertaining, and sometimes right.
I think this scapegoat firing is bullshit.
Robert Saleh must have known that he was on borrowed time.
Deshaun Watson is affecting, it's not just the offense, he's affecting the morale of the defense.
Yes, it is not enough to sit him. It is not enough to make him inactive. They have to absolutely wash their hands of this guy.
You've been clenching your asshole for an hour thinking about that. We're back. Clear eyes.
Full heart!
Can't lose.
Play like a champion! You're a true homeowner.
I know. We figured out the hard way that our water heater is gas.
Oh.
Not electric as we thought.
So what was the hard way?
It wasn't hard, but we called the electric company to come out and do an electricity audit to see how much they would give us in credits for installing new windows. And the guy showed up today, and he was like, so what do you want me to look at? We're like, oh yeah, the water heater and whatever. And he's like, these are gas. I was like, oh, okay.
Not the worst thing in the world, though, because if the power ever goes out, you can still have hot water. You can still take like
Facts.
I would actually prefer gas.
Yeah.
With how often the fucking power goes out here when it's winter.
Yeah, gas fireplaces, all that. Pretty clutch.
Yeah.
What's your the stove top? That's electric?
Yeah, it's glass.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
I kind of like it.
You do?
It's easier to clean.
Yeah, and it gets hot much faster than the coils do.
Wow. In case you were wondering how the riveting discussion on it just makes sense this week. Not like sports has happened.
We're talking homes.
We're talking homes. And we're talking NBA players getting their asses eaten out.
Thank
Are you
God.
talking about the underage girl that fucked an Indiana Pacer?
No. Well, I'm sure that happened. Oh, you mean
Whatever her name is.
the Giddey guy?
No,
Josh
no.
Giddey? Because he's with the Pacers now, isn't he?
No, I'm not talking about
it's
Giddy.
not him.
There is a girl that showed up to a podcast. Her name was Tara something. I don't know.
Is it this girl?
It starts with a T. I wouldn't
You
recognize
can't
her.
see her? Okay.
But she claimed, maybe that's her. She claimed that when she was 16, she fucked a Pacer.
Interesting.
And the years match up to when the Pacers had, the two biggest names the Pacers had were Paul George and Lance Stevenson.
Mm-hmm.
Feel like it would be more of a Lance Stevenson thing to do than a Paul George thing to do.
Well, he was busy getting Doc Rivers' daughter pregnant, wasn't he? Pretty sure he
Paul
did
George?
that. Yeah, Paul George did that. Pretty
But
sure
yeah.
it was Doc Rivers. And then Seth Curry ended up marrying her, which was a whole thing, too. So
This is a wild thing to come out with. Like, underage sex.
Oh, I thought you were meaning the ass-eating out thing.
This.
Yeah.
This for just regular sex is what? Like, what are you?
Well,
what are you trying to accomplish?
Yeah, if Josh Giddey's not getting in trouble for anything, then everyone's invincible. No, the first topic of the night: NBA player in a championship got their ass eaten out. Here's this story.
One time, I went to dinner with this basketball team that was in the championship. One of the players took a really good liking to me, I guess. He takes me back to his hotel room. And we don't even have sex. He just makes me eat his ass. And then he comes, which is great. So he has to leave in the morning. He says, you can sleep over with me. That's awesome. That's great. I sleep over with him. And then he wakes up in the morning. He's going to leave. He's like, you can check out isn't until later. Like, you can use the hotel room, enjoy yourself, do room service, whatever you want. I go to the bathroom and I turn on the light. I look in the mirror. He gave me f***ing pink eye. Like, my eye was huge and red. It was not good.
What'd you expect?
And then the next day, they won the championship.
So,
There's no
candidates for who
There's no
this may
year?
have been. No, and so okay, so let's do some like deduction things, right? Let's deduce.
Let's launch an investigation.
Yeah, let's deduce this whole thing.
Take out ones that are married.
No. No.
You dummy.
Yeah, when they're on the
Faithful.
road.
Faithful.
No, yeah, well, so it's
So
none of
still
these
nobody.
guys. Yeah.
John Stockton's not in the league anymore.
Yeah. I mean, like, on the road, they had just either won to put it within, so they were on the road, they came back, they won at home, right? My first thought is that this was probably the Golden State Warriors. I don't know this for certain, but when I hear this story, the first person I think about is Draymond Green for whatever reason. And I know that he's married and all that other stuff. But,
Jordan Poole?
Possibly. Jordan Poole. Jordan Bell, even. If we're talking, I mean, we're going, we have decided it.
You can eliminate the COVID championship because they weren't in hotels.
Right.
So that's gone.
Right, so not the Lakers.
So we're thinking Milwaukee, Toronto, Golden State, Cleveland, and
Denver?
Denver. Those were the teams that we would
Boston?
be choosing from. Boston's too recent.
I think it's too recent. She makes this seem like
This is Jokic.
Jamal Murray?
Jamal Murray, possibly. So,
It's
or
probably,
is it not
honestly,
even
it's
like
probably a nobody.
a nobody? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
that's
Kevon
probably-
Looney or some shit.
It's definitely Mr. Looney.
Yeah. So
I
anyone
mean,
who
you share a story like this. This says more about her than it does the player. I'm like, you're wanting attention, but it's not the best attention coming
the
your
best
way.
attention, so.
You ate somebody's ass after a game.
Right. By the way, we will say allegedly in all of this is that I think we should probably for our own. I mean, this is for entertainment purposes.
For our reputation.
Yeah, for make sure that we don't get ourselves
We're all about reputation management.
sued for defamation.
I hope we do.
Fucking come through. We are.
I mean, he came.
We're defaming
through.
you.
That's the thing. If you want to,
comes from getting their ass eaten.
that is the thing. If it, no, I mean, it was like if it was incorrect, they could all sue us. But
Have you
I
had
don't know.
have you ever had your ass eaten?
no,
I've had my ass eaten. It's not something that makes me come.
I would assume that there's like a reach around aspect,
do you think?
or
Or they're just gonna do it themselves?
No, she would have been clear with that.
Yeah.
Unless he was jerking himself off and then he came and she's telling the story like, oh, he just came from me eating his ass.
I think that's what the story is, right? Is that she's eating his ass, he's jerking in, and then he comes. Right? He's not just coming from getting his ass eaten.
I wouldn't. Never have.
No.
Never will.
Like, in what way?
Not
Like,
anymore.
you've got to... Anyways. For anyone who's ever... Never mind. Krabby Patty? I don't like
Is
this.
Like the
is that
whole
what the kids are calling
the
it?
times that have had the times that I've had my ass eaten, I'm just making this face. Why are you back there?
Yeah, I know.
Ma'am?
Feel
Why?
bad for all of them. You got to feel bad for all of them.
You know I had Chipotle earlier?
Boy.
Whatever gets them going. Or Wendy's, because, again, the Krabby Patty.
Yeah.
October 8th is the official launch date of the collab between the Wendy's and the authentic or whatever Krabby Patty. So I was not much of a SpongeBob guy, but some people think
Meaning
this
what?
is a big
What does
deal.
this mean?
It's just a deal that
It's a
they're
marketing
doing.
thing.
Yeah.
It's like the 25th
Is
year.
it a burger? Is that a beef burger?
Yeah,
It
it's
is.
a beef burger.
It's
fried
honestly
rice.
all it
It's-
is a Dave single with like a special sauce on it.
That's really all it is. But people are losing their minds for it. So, and it's a little bit bold to be like, okay, this is actually a Krabby Patty. I don't know, like what. I feel like there's more risk to be taken to do it than, it's just kind of a mid, normal burger.
We talk about like I don't know. At least me and Braxton have talked about it because he's been to China. But you know how fast food places internationally have different menus.
Sure, yeah.
I just saw a post today that showed like McDonald's in South Africa has has like churro fries covered in like chocolate sauce.
Oh, interesting.
McDonald's in France has this like McChoco burger that has like M&Ms and chocolate sauce and all kinds of shit. And then McDonald's in Thailand has a shrimp donut.
Huh.
So imagine like a donut shape, like it looks like a donut, but when you bite into it, it's like tempura shrimp.
Oh no!
Are you
so
are you
it's like
fucking kidding me? What do you mean? Oh no!
Why wouldn't you call it like a shrimp ring, like an onion ring?
Don't
but-
call it a donut.
You don't own it. You don't get to decide what they fucking call it.
Well, they should get me on the board.
Does the shrimp donut like? Is it unappetizing to you?
Yes.
It's just a giant calamari with donut inside. Instead
Okay,
of
but
squid.
like, don't call it a donut. That's all I'm
That's
saying.
where you're
You
losing
just
me.
don't like.
if you saw it, you would have been like, "Yeah, I'm on."
Okay, like I would see it, I'd be like, cool, and then they would call it a donut. It ruins it for me. That's all I'm
'Cause
saying.
then I would think it's like sweet.
Right. Like I just call it something else. Just like vegans try and call chicken their version that looks like chicken. It's not chicken. If you want it to be chicken, aren't you anti-chicken? You don't want to eat chicken. Chicken. So don't act like
It's a
it's
you
chicken if
problem.
what you despise is chicken. So that all I'm saying is don't make something that like is a donut and shrimp, call it something else. That's it.
Okay.
Anything you got to say
Yeah.
about that?
Chicken.
I thought I had the energy. That
I
whole
exhausted
explanation
him.
exhausted me.
I got him real nice.
Now
and
I don't
tired.
even. Now even if I had the chance, I don't want to try the shrimp donut just because of what happened 15
Yeah.
seconds
You're
ago.
welcome. I didn't know that Popeyes was trying to jolly be their way in.
You take any fast
The
food joint in the
Philippines.
Philippines, there will be spaghetti.
There will be sweet spaghetti.
KFC has a spaghetti.
Do they? I'm sure.
Popeyes
yeah.
has a spaghetti. Everybody has a spaghetti.
I guess I shouldn't be that surprised.
But you mentioned the fries. In Japan, I know that they have, and I'm sure other locations for, I think it's McDonald's and Burger King, they have the shake 'em fries.
Yeah.
Where they give you like
Fucking awesome.
a ramen packet, kind of, but it's
It's like seasonings.
garlic parmesan, and your fries come in a bag that's like too big for the amount of fries, so you can shake them up in the
Gotcha,
bag.
Okay.
It's like barbecue seasoning, cheddar cheese, sour cream and onion, and you just dump it in
And
the
you
bag and you
choose
shake
which
it.
seasoning you want, and you
Yeah.
can shake it all around.
You can fucking use all the
like
seasoning.
a beignet at Cafe Du Monde.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly.
shake 'em
A
fries
real
is bomb.
donut, if you will. So
One thing that I don't understand why the American fast food restaurants have not taken on is like curry flavored dipping sauces. I feel like that's a very common thing outside of the U.S.
It's a
and I
European
want it.
thing.
I want it.
you want the curry flavored dipping sauce.
Yes.
It does feel like
Because that's never going to happen here.
Why?
Because
they
fucking...
have curry flavored wings. Like people love curry wings, right?
Exactly.
Do people love them? Like
I
how
love- I
often
mean,
do you
I
think-
love 'em,
Yeah,
you know?
we do. I mean, somebody's going to taste that curry and be like, get out of my country.
Jesus. It is interesting, like how slow. Just gonna move on from it. How slow and yet fast companies will react to certain things, right? Like I saw a commercial that the M&M is now introducing the purple M&M, and it's just kind of like, okay, it's so revolutionary of you to add a purple colored M&M. But then on the other side, they're always like, we're going to do these crazy, not crazy, but like pretzel buns. No one wants a pretzel bun, but like, do you want a pretzel bun?
I don't mind a pretzel
Okay,
bun.
but like, were you like, this is what the world
No.
needs? Okay.
So Burgerville has a pretzel bun. Did you see that?
I did not.
So there's a commercial that I saw during Monday Night Football 3 times, and it's a new pretzel bun. I think it's a pretzel bun because it has that sheen that you see from, I don't know.
It's glossy.
Maybe it's brioche. I don't know.
Yeah.
But the person that's holding it is somebody we know. Like
Really?
So when we worked at Cutco, like me, Mitch, Jordan,
Is it Joel Kelly as well?
No, it's Rose. It's V. It's a cousin of Jeremy and Mai.
Oh, gotcha.
And I texted Mitch. I'm like, I'm pretty sure I just saw V in a Burgerville commercial. So I texted and fact checked, and her cousin Mai, who's the wife of somebody we work with, was like, yeah, that's definitely her.
Have you seen Joel since I sent you that photo?
No, but I have an idea for Saturday.
Okay.
I think we record in response to that whole say no to measure 118.
Yeah.
I think we record Jordan on a bogus measure and make it look good enough.
Yeah.
And then we post it.
Sure, okay.
Because he'll see it. But Jordan has to be serious. And like, we all have to be a part of it.
We've got the equipment. We've got the whole thing.
We can make it happen.
I just think it'd be the funniest fucking response. We just make up a bill, a measure.
Yeah, measure 69.
It's like, say no to, like, we're not going to be allowed to poop outside. Say no to measure 127 and see how Joel responds to it.
Jordan Ray, and then underneath it's Portland Pooper or something.
I just thought about this last night. I think
Pooper.
it would be missed opportunity if we don't.
All right. We got to get them nice and liquored up there. Or not. I mean, they'd probably do it nice and sober.
Doesn't have to be liquored up to do that shit.
So, I'd do it. We've got the equipment.
Let's do it.
What's there to lose?
I mean, you can probably just use our phones. We just got to make it
true.
look good enough to be so we can post it.
So weird. Well, this past weekend we went to the Oregon State game, boys.
We did.
Fun times for all.
Great game.
It was very, very good game. Very good times.
And I'll tell you what, we also check our socials at official IJMS. A group pick with Benny the Beaver.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, he says that he endorsed the podcast. So, and that's the thing. Like, my son got to take a photo with Benny the Beaver. He played catch with Benny as well. What has the Oregon Duck ever done for my son, huh? That's all I'm saying. Is like, so Brody was very much boo-hooing the Beavers. He was like, but we root for the Go Ducks, Dad. I was like, well, one day a year we'll root for the Beavers, blah, blah, blah. And then we get there, and he's just like doing the chainsaw and taking pictures with Benny. Absolutely loved it. So it's a lot of fun.
It's different when you're not around douchers at Watson.
Did you enjoy going on? You guys got to go on the field as well?
Yeah, we did.
That was pretty slick.
I did not know that was a part of it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And
you guys were like kind of in the corner
My
there?
initial thought is I was too wasted for this. The lady is explaining rules and shit. I'm like, what are we doing?
Yeah, don't go on the field. Got
and
it.
Naoko was like, oh, I arranged for us to do the energy tunnel. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? She's like, there's only one, not her, but the girl that was in charge. She's like, there's only one rule. Get off the field immediately.
Yeah.
Like, get off the field immediately. And I'm like, okay. And it stood there for, to me, what seemed like forever. Mm-hmm. I was like, I don't know what the fuck's going on, but.
So you guys were right down there in the corner, and like when they ran out and everything? Is that kind of what that was?
Yeah, I mean, we were right in the center of the field in
front of the goalpost.
The end zone.
Okay. Yeah,
so they come out of the tunnel, and we were
That's
just
pretty
standing there cheering.
Nice stuff.
That was probably the reason why they won.
Exactly, yeah. You remember me from the spring game? I'll dance for you.
I thought about bringing that up to Benny, but there's no way that's him.
No.
I mean, it's been 10 years.
Hey, remember me? I'm the guy.
He just goes,
mm-hmm.
It's been a decade. If it's you, my God, dude.
Still you.
If we tried to pull this off right now, we would both get hurt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. You don't need that kind of rash. You slow to recover from all of that. Slow to recover. We did not go down onto the field. We were cheapskates, and we sat kind of up in the corner. But we were kind of tracking you guys. As you guys were meandering all around the stadium. So
I'm pretty sure there was one point that we got up, and all my shirt and my undershirt was all bunched up. Mm-hmm. We got up, and like the top half of my ass is just showing for all the rows above me.
Yeah, you go.
But
that lady wanted to eat your ass, probably. Right?
Yeah, and I wasn't sober enough to fix that quickly.
Yeah,
it just like took my time.
There was a couple that wanted you to be part of their like third. It sounded like, right?
There's two couples, probably swingers.
Yeah,
they were invested in the energy of the drunk group.
Guy was
the
like,
drunk
"Hey,
young people in front of them.
You can dance with my wife at the bar afterwards." What was that all about?
He was invested. I shared with him the bet that we all placed. Like we had probably $400 on this OSU -11, and he was invested in it. So he was cheering and hoping that we hit it. And he's like, "If you guys hit this bet, and you go to the Peacock, which is a bar in Corvallis that a lot of students go to." He's like, "You can dance with my wife tonight." And then his wife gives me a high five. I was like, "All right, lady, take it easy." All right.
The Beavers, they go into double overtime. They win by 8, and we end up losing that bet. Were you part of that bet too, or you stayed out of it? Yeah.
Yeah.
But so they don't cover the 11 or 11 and a half, whatever that was. So Brian sends me a text message the day after with his Venmo code or his Venmo.
You didn't
link.
pay him before?
And no, I did not do that. He didn't ask for it, so I was like, "Oh yeah, just."
For gambling, for somebody you don't know that well, you gotta send it. You can't wait for them to send you a request, bro.
So then he goes, "Hey, can you Venmo me the $50?" And I just said new number. Who dis? And then I just didn't pay him again, so I should probably do that.
You still haven't done it?
Still haven't?
Dude, that's bad.
You're a
That's
terrible
not
person.
a good
Yeah,
move.
it's really. Hold on, I don't even know where my phone is now. So we'll figure that
convenient.
out. Convenient. Don't know
Like,
where the
it's
phone
different if it's like us.
is. Yeah,
But you don't know Brian that well. Like
I don't know.
That is something that you send like
immediately
before he places the
That's
bet,
probably
you
true.
know?
Yeah, my bad.
I do remember Miguel chewing me out and giving me so much shit because I said Michigan's not that good, and he was just giving me the what for because you're just trying to say that because you want the Ducks to beat them, blah blah blah. You're an idiot.
And then Michigan, who was an underdog against Washington, gets their
That's what we found so fucking
loses
weird.
by 10 points. Then they lose by 10 points. So why is that so weird?
Because we were talking about that before the game started. I was like, why are they underdogs?
Yeah,
And I said because I don't think they're very
they're
good.
not very good, bruh.
No, they had a bunch of people
The
hurt.
week of the upset in college football, in which Tennessee loses to Arkansas, Michigan loses to Washington, USC loses to Minnesota of all people.
Is there any part of you that
Alabama versus Vandy?
last time we did this whole Ohio State Oregon song and dance, right? There was no part of me that thought Ohio State could lose. Not in Columbus, no fucking chance in hell.
And now what?
Made a shit ton of bets and lost 1,700 before
You
noon.
did do that, yes.
Is there any part of you this coming Saturday that thinks that could happen again? Or you're like, no way I'm risking any money? Because I don't even view this as like jinxing it, but I'm thinking, what if this is the time that I could make that money back? Who would be dumb enough to be like, okay, last time you did this, it didn't work out too well for you. But would you take a $500 bet?
Would I? No, but we all know my numbers here. My numbers are a lot. My
Would you
units
each
are way
each
lower.
take a $250 bet each?
No.
Against you?
Yeah.
No, I would not do that. Would we get the points as well? Or are you just asking for a straight up bet? You're talking
It'd be
about a
straight
road.
up because this
No, see,
the whole 3.5, that's just a road home thing.
But that's
I mean,
not a road home thing.
Yes, it is.
Ohio State is favored by 3. That's a 6-point swing. If we look at the traditional 3-point home favorite,
It's at Oregon.
It's at Oregon. That's a 6-point swing if we think about it, and it's talking about one of the most what some consider to be a top 10 at minimum top 20. Top 10 home field advantage in college football.
Mm-hmm.
So
okay, let's. If you're making such a strong case for that whole swing, at +3, would you make a $250 each bet?
could I do it at 3.5?
Fuck you.
Could I do it at 3.5? So
I would consider 100.
100 each. Yeah, I don't go that high. My units are not that high. Might I consider $100? I don't know. Well,
I'd have to think about it.
Yeah, that's one of the
At
bigger
100,
bets.
you're still thinking about it?
Yeah.
And yet I'm just like $100 against Colorado. And if I was feeling better about that bet, maybe I could, feel like I'm hedging a little bit. And
this is probably not going to happen against you guys. So, who I really need to make it back from is the guy I lost it to.
Yeah,
but I don't think he's going to make that bet.
Why wouldn't he?
I mean,
because he just made a case about how he's not high on the Ducks this year.
Oh, well.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we can talk about the upsets and stuff, but since we're on the subject, like I obviously think that the Ducks can win, but I mean it's going to be a really tough game.
Yeah. Before let's talk about the upsets first, then I want to get into the Oregon game. So, obviously coming off of a week of, and then we can ruminate about this bet a little bit more. Maybe we'll feel a little bit better. We'll talk ourselves into it. Alabama loses to Vanderbilt a week after defeating Georgia in, the biggest game in Kalen DeBoer's career, and then they come back, they lose to Vandy on the road by 5 points. Tennessee loses to Arkansas again, Michigan losing. USC now dropping out of the top 25 after their loss to Minnesota. What happened? I know that we were at the game, the Oregon State game, and you just look and you go, like, coming into this past weekend slate, we're like, this is not going to be the week that is a crazy week, and then boom, it all happens.
I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think it's the mid-season slump. They came off of a high and a half against a Georgia team that they trampled. But I don't think Alabama, like specifically that game, I don't think Alabama losing to Vanderbilt affects anything. If anything, they're going to go on a fucking undefeated streak after this, be in the playoffs, and be just fine. I think it's just they took a week off, it seems like.
I do think that it's a big deal, specifically because it comes against Vanderbilt, who was an unranked team, correct? And now they have to go undefeated, as you had said, which means they have to beat Georgia again
in the SEC championship game,
which I don't think will be.
In a 12 team, they can have 2 losses and still be in the playoffs.
I don't know.
I mean, I think that yes, and especially they would if they're Alabama and they have 2 losses.
Their 2 losses are going to come from high-level teams.
I think that
like Vanderbilt.
No, if they lose to Vanderbilt and they lose to Georgia, I don't think they're out of a 12-team playoff.
But they're not. But they're potentially not a top 4. They're not getting the bye.
Yeah, regardless of where they're at, they'll be in the playoffs.
When you're a team like Alabama or the like, you're eyeing that extra week off, aren't you? Like, and you're allowing these other people to kind of, shoot themselves in the foot. When you're Alabama and the expectations that way, you are not the type of team that does this to yourself. You're watching everyone else.
The reason I say it's not a big deal is because the 12-team landscape changes everything. Before the 12-team, this would have been a bigger deal. This loss would have been a bigger deal because one more loss knocks them out. But with a 12-team, they could lose another one, and they'll be in the playoffs. Maybe not in the top 4, but they'll be in it. Because there's no chance they're going to not be in it against even a fucking 1-loss Liberty or a 2-loss TCU or whatever. They'll be in it. Once you're in it, it doesn't matter.
I think my argument would be is if you're Alabama and you have 2 losses and you can say, oh, we lost to Georgia in the SEC championship and we lost to, in a top 25 Ole Miss or, Tennessee or something like that. But I think having a loss to an unranked kind of nobody team like Vanderbilt,
kind of nobody, very much a nobody team.
hasn't beat them in decades. Never has beaten a top 10 ranked team in the history of their program. Like, that is a just textbook bad loss.
Yeah, because you're talking about like stumbling your way down through. It's like because they're going to have Tennessee, they're going to have Oklahoma, they're going to have LSU, and then there's whatever happens in the Auburn game, which has been very lopsided recently. But when you factor in the Iron Bowl, and then even Missouri is ranked, right? So I mean, it's like this is not.
I think almost
the right one to stumble.
I think that it
your toe
almost
on.
would be better for them if they were to end the season 2 losses. It would almost be better for them to lose to one of the teams you just named and then beat Georgia in the SEC championship, because then regardless, the championship automatically gets that one of those top 4, right?
Correct. Yeah.
I think you're just forgetting how the committee looks at Alabama. They get so many passes when it comes to things, and it's like a loss to an unranked Vanderbilt does look bad, but a win against a ranked Tennessee, a win against Georgia in the SEC championship, a win against another ranked team, I wouldn't say completely overshadows this bad loss, but they look at the quality of opponents. And Alabama is going to get the benefit of the doubt over a team that barely beat a shitty team.
Yeah. So
which sucks to say, but that's the pass that they get.
Alabama loses 2 games. They are in the playoff. They lose 3 games.
That's tough.
That's tough, right?
No way.
They're right.
No
so
way.
so and again, so what?
Unless the entire thing falls apart, there's no way.
Right. So the SEC, much like other conferences, have done away with their sides. There's no West and East or whatever of the SEC. It is one big conference. The top 2 teams go to the SEC championship. So I mean, is it possible that Alabama finds their way to lose 2 games, not make it to the SEC playoff or championship, but then still go to the 12-team playoff, which is kind of an interesting thing. Maybe when you're looking at head-to-heads and anything like that, then someone who has 2 losses goes, and then they get their 3rd loss, they get bounced. Alabama gets in out of a weird technicality because they weren't even in the championship game. That would be weird.
Them having 2 losses and not playing in the SEC championship is more likely to get them in the playoffs than with 3 losses.
Yes. And so that would be kind of a weird backdoor way in. But when you see yourself trying to get into the playoff, like your 1 loss is technically done. Your hope now is you either win out and you win or lose the SEC championship game, or you don't make the SEC championship game and then hope that something happens within that championship where you kind of get in there by some sort of
it's like
luck.
Everyone could speculate in what they think will happen or should happen, but don't forget that until there is a clean and cut system that everyone follows, which doesn't exist right now with the committee.
It's a wild, wild west.
It's still their decision. And the decision of leaving Alabama out of the playoffs means you lose a fuck ton of money, because don't get it twisted. This is an entertainment thing.
Yeah.
Not having Alabama in the 12-team playoff means you lose hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, millions of dollars.
So until we are following a pattern here where we say, okay, Alabama didn't meet those expectations, they can't come in, they're going to find a way to get them in.
Yeah, they're going to find a way to get them in.
Unless
it'll be revisionist history.
Yeah, unless it's 3 or 4 losses and there's just no fucking way. There's just no way that you can make an excuse for it. We saw, I'm going to stand by this, we saw it with Florida State last year. There's no money with Florida State. Why should they be in?
Right.
It's a money decision.
Yeah, for sure. It will ultimately be a huge talking point should Alabama find their way to stumble against one of these ranked opponents that we have talked about. 1-1 in conference play, and it definitely puts. We still have about a month to go before we get our first rankings for the college football playoff.
What was Oregon ranked before they beat Michigan State?
6.
And they jumped up 3?
They jumped up to 3. Again, you're talking about a lot of movement there in the top 15. They have a decisive win over Michigan State. Ohio State also had a decisive win over Michigan State. So then let's turn our attention to the Oregon and Ohio State game. So when we look at it on paper, where is this game won or lost? And ultimately, what type of game do you think we'll see? Do you think that we'll see a game go over 56 on the over-under, or are we thinking this is like kind of a bit of a lower scoring affair?
I think the way that Oregon plays this season, they're not going to be able to run through Ohio State. I think they're going to air the ball out. And then it's just a matter of which direction it goes. But I think the Buckeyes are going to run through Oregon. I think they're going to pound the fucking ground and see if they can stop them. I think they're going to keep doing it until Oregon shows that they can stop them.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think Oregon's secondary is probably stronger than the receiving core that Ohio State has, which is surprising. Usually Ohio State has pretty good receivers. I think that this year is one of their weaker years on the roster at that position. And I agree. I think it's going to come up to the defensive front. If they can hold that run game to, a mediocre showing, then that puts us in a better position. And then if we're looking at the other side of the ball, I think over these last couple weeks, Dylan Gabriel has been making some pretty dumb decisions when throwing the ball, throwing 2 red zone picks last week against Michigan State. And you just got to clean up those mistakes. You can't make those mistakes against a team like Ohio State. You need to score. When you have the ball inside the 20, you need to score. Whether that's 3 or 7, I don't care, but you need to put points on the board. So as long as we can clean up those turnover mistakes from Gabriel, and then we don't have to stop the run, but just don't let it get to a point where they're, getting 4+ yards a carry and they're kind of just making their way with you. I trust this is one of the stronger DB cores that Oregon has had in a long time across all 4 of them. And I would take that chance, having Ohio State throw the ball.
Thanks, Coach. Sounds like a press conference. We look strong this year.
Hey,
I'm trying to stay. What's the word? Pragmatic.
Our DB core, man. Woo!
It may not be sexy, and you may not necessarily realize you're watching it, but this game will be won and lost based off of what each offensive and defensive line will do.
Absolutely.
When you look at how Oregon's defensive line can get to the quarterback or limit the run, obviously going to be a huge emphasis. Jordan James last week obviously heard that no one was fancying him as a running back, proceeds to put up 166 yards on the ground and probably a couple touchdowns. And then obviously what's going to happen with Oregon and their offensive line. Obviously early on in the season it was not so not so smooth sailing, especially for Dylan Gabriel. You're switching your blind side blockers and everything like that. So now you have it seems as if the seas have calmed down a little bit.
I get that as an Oregon fan, I appreciate the optimism and the positivity that our team is getting better week after week. You've not played a fucking team. You've not played anyone.
Yeah.
You've not played anyone. You have barely squeaked out against the Vandals. You barely squeaked out against Boise State. You trampled Oregon State. You trampled Michigan State. You are just now about to enter the part of your season where you're playing ranked good teams.
Right. And so to your point, advantage Ohio State. because they have always looked good, even against their teams that they should have decisively beat. Obviously, like they have stood on their business all year long. They have not made it any type of a game against any opponent that they have had all year.
Hence why they're favorites. Even though this is at Autzen, this is a revenge game from a few years ago. Ohio State are clear favorites in this game. I don't even think the fact that it's 2 versus 3, I don't think Oregon's the third best team in the nation. So to me, that's a little deceiving.
Do you think that it's artificially inflated knowing that, like, potentially, since these rankings don't really mean anything, you just throw a 2-3 matchup?
It's so much easier to move Oregon to 3 after Alabama lost, after Tennessee lost. The thing is,
it's all a ratings game,
I think it makes sense with everything that occurred, but it's
a high jump. It's a huge jump.
Especially where...
But what, 3 teams ahead of them lost?
Yeah,
Alabama and Tennessee were ahead of them.
Sure, and the teams around them, again, like Miami, like didn't deserve to jump up or anything like that.
Here's
I would have put them at like 5.
Here's what's very hypocritical about that move, though. We're in week 6 or week 7 of NCAA or whatever, right?
6.
So basically, what they're saying is, why should they be behind a 1-loss team? They're undefeated. Well, that is not a very consistent take from the committee, because they fuck over undefeated teams all the goddamn time.
But this isn't committee right now.
Yeah.
So I mean that's kind of the thing.
It's the same people that create the polls that decide who's gonna be the AP poll that decide who's gonna be ranked and who's gonna be in the playoffs. They don't give a shit about undefeated versus 1 loss. They don't give a shit about quality of opponents and all that.
Right.
It's just who should be there so we can make the most money from viewership.
Yeah.
That's why this jump was made. But ultimately, like, whether you're cheering for or against Oregon, you have to admit this Dylan Gabriel was the same Dylan Gabriel in Oklahoma making stupid-ass Josh Allen decisions last season.
Yeah.
He did it all the goddamn time. He's been doing it all season where he thinks that he's just untouchable, and he's throwing picks left and right.
He tries to thread the needle a little too
I feel
tightly.
like there's 3 or 4 teams this season you can't do that against, and they're playing one of them on Saturday.
It's going to be one of them. And so then you say, okay, if you play your most buttoned-up football across the way, everything goes your way, this is going to come down.
Then they lose by 7.
Well, where I'm going with this is that it comes down to, unforced errors by what you do. And what we have seen Oregon do is, to your point, those types of boneheaded mistakes. And so if you're talking about just a handful of plays, that's where I get most worried about Oregon, because I've seen that and you just go, what the hell was that? And then all of a sudden momentum changes. A team like Ohio State will capitalize on something.
Yeah. Here's also where I feel bad for Oregon fans. You see somebody like Jordan James go off for 160-something against Michigan State last Saturday, and then you convince yourself, man, we got a good back. That dude's not a good back.
I'm not saying that.
That dude is not a good back.
Had a good game.
Because he is going to face Ohio State. If that dude gets 70 yards, I'd be fucking shocked. I would be shocked if he gets 70.
Okay, that's where I want to bet some money.
Yeah.
Is that like?
Oh yeah, you want to bet on that?
Oh, you do.
I would not go below $1,000.
Dollars. Okay. So, I think that Oregon. So I think that he'll get over 70 yards. I don't necessarily think he's going to get 100 yards, but I think he'll get over 70. And my biggest fear is that Dylan Gabriel is going to look a little bit too much in the way of Tez Johnson. He's our number 1 receiver this year. He's got about like 600 yards receiving so far.
Yeah, he's definitely going to need to spread the ball around.
Spread it out a little bit. And that's the thing.
Here's Dylan Gabriel when the snap happens.
Get cute.
He when the snap happens, he looks at his fucking receiver and he trails him the entire way. Why do you think he throws so many fucking picks?
Yeah.
He's just staring at them the whole way.
So many picks.
Didn't he throw 2 against Michigan State? Like in the
and how many this season?
I don't know, 5, 6.
No.
Are you sure about that?
I can fact check that here real quick.
I think he has
Sorry.
like 3.
Let's look at Dylan Gabriel's stats so far.
That dude trails his fucking receivers and he just stares at him. And he does that against Ohio State on Saturday. He'll match that and he'll have 3 on Saturday.
My biggest concern is the amount of time, right? Like, we saw how difficult it was early on in the year, and we were thinking about an offensive line who had given up like 5 sacks in like a 3-year period to only like do that many in a single game against Idaho. Like, these are some big uglies coming at you on Saturday.
And I totally agree with you, but also football is a today business, and the offensive line and the defensive line for the Ducks in these last 2 games has looked
so much better. And that's the thing. Like, but then again, like, is this the time where you come back to earth? Potentially. But then again, you've had this game, so you know what this game is. And not only that, we haven't even gotten to the fact that Chip Kelly is making his return to Autzen as the offensive coordinator, and what that entails in the pomp and circumstance of all of this. Is Chip just finding his way to maneuver around you?
People are gonna boo him. People at Autzen are gonna boo him, forgetting that he was the reason they all became fans in 2009.
I don't think that they would boo him.
But I think that Chip
We're talking about classless
saving
fans
a few
here.
things.
Yes,
here.
they're gonna fucking boo him.
There's no way.
I
I
almost feel like the NCAA needs to hire someone to go walk up and down Autzen and be like, "Hey, he's the reason you bought that hoodie from Kmart in 2009." So don't boo him. Maybe thank him that you became a Dog fan.
No way.
They put Chip Kelly on the Jumbotron, and I guarantee you there will be videos. People will they will cheer him. They will. There is a oh man!
You want us to hate him or love him, man?
Yeah. So
he's gonna get booed. That is not a classy facility.
If anything, it may be a courtesy boo. It's not gonna be like a real boo.
The
way the Rose Garden booed Kobe. It's a courtesy boo.
You know what those are like.
I highly doubt that. I highly doubt that he gets booed.
Yeah. So I think this conversation has not made me feel any better about wanting to put money on Oregon. And so here's also the thing, and we've talked about it just with Alabama.
Before you say that,
okay,
when you put money on Oregon against me, they usually win. Think about it.
That is not the case for me.
And he would be tied to that bet. So
that's one time against Auburn.
That is not true, Miguel.
He always loses to
I
you.
have lost to you like a half dozen times.
Yeah, he sure does.
With Oregon.
Yeah.
I've won once, in fact.
Not to you.
All of the bets we've placed that Oregon's involved, I've won literally once.
Against what? Well, who? What?
I mean, we've been friends for 10 years.
No, what team? What game?
All of them. All of them besides Ohio State, I have lost.
Yeah, and you don't even remember the one that you won?
Yeah, it was Ohio State.
Okay.
Oh, okay. It was sorry.
Yes,
okay.
Yes,
yeah.
yeah.
Talking,
so maybe he
gotcha.
won't. He definitely
Or 2
won't
years
just
ago.
because of the track record. I will give you 3.5
He'll give me the 3.5
for $300.
No, I'm not going to do that.
Sack the fuck up.
I mean, and that's the
I'll
thing.
do
I'm
3.5
still
at 100.
I'm still open to it. That's what's sick and fucking twisted. I would go in possibly.
We
at
can
$100.
Your toe in.
We can make this interesting. I will give you the 3-point spread, and then add
You just said 3.5.
against Peter if I was doing a heads up against Peter because he asked for the half earlier. For you guys, I'm doing 3 if it's both of you. We can do the 3-point spread, and then do under 70 yards rushing for Jordan James and at least 1 pick for Dylan Gabriel.
Well, I think that Dylan Gabriel is going to throw a pick.
That's a 3-leg parlay. You imagine making a friendly 3-leg parlay? Woo, boy. I don't know.
Yeah.
But let's just do it.
Can we do 20? Okay, let me do 20 on James. Do you want 20 on
No,
James?
I'm only doing that in the parlay because it's more fun.
Okay.
It would have to be like a round robin.
No.
I don't even know. I don't even get
I don't
round robin.
understand how you guys don't get a round robin.
I mean, I do.
So
it's just
we're
too
not gonna
much
do
money.
a
I don't want to
round
put all that
robin
in there.
You do a round robin on DraftKings. Do a round.
Yeah.
We're not doing a round robin against bets between us.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we probably shouldn't do a parlay amongst friends either.
That part is
I don't
fine.
even know what
Let's
it's gonna
cross
be.
that threshold.
Yeah.
Let's do the parlay.
Let's take our relationship to the next level, shall we?
Sleep, pray about it.
So you're not giving me the 3.5.
For $300, I'll do a head up against you for 3.5.
I'm not gonna do $300.
I think-
There's no
I
way
think-
I would be able to keep that from Lindsay either.
You can't keep anything from Lindsay.
No,
First of
I
all,
can't.
you-
I'll tell you.
If you're making
soon,
a $300 bet on a college football game, you don't share that with your wife.
Yeah.
You can keep that to yourself.
You take that to the fucking grave,
Yeah,
Pete.
I will tell you guys here, teaser about a bet that I made in the NFL that I was gloating to Lindsay about that I eventually lost. Okay, back to
You never learn.
yeah.
Just pray about the Ohio State,
Okay,
Oregon.
we
bets.
will potentially, if we can't come to terms on it, we'll eventually come to something by Saturday.
I'm
So,
open to something.
Yeah.
All right. I'll think
I'm
about
open
it.
to something. Oh, you'll
So,
think about it.
how about getting your ass eaten by some random girl on the internet and then giving her pink eye?
I'm not going to do that.
Okay, cool.
And
cool.
what's next?
It's just a Wednesday night, brother.
I've done that.
Also notable games coming up this weekend. Very
All of
good
them?
game. The Wed Wivel Rivalry is on Saturday as well at 12:30. Texas, a 14.5-point favorite. And,
I think they cover that.
And Ewers is going to be coming back, it sounds like. So.
Doesn't matter who the quarterback is. I think they cover that.
I do
know
too.
it's in Oklahoma. But
No. They always play it at the Texas State game.
Oh, it's neutral.
Yeah, it's that neutral
Texas
side.
covers that easy. I think they win by 21.
I could see that happening, too. I think Texas rolls in this one. I could still see it being a high-scoring game,
the
but I think the Texas
Only way
rolls.
Oklahoma keeps it close or wins is if anyone that matters at Texas gets hurt. Like if Ewers or
Well,
Manning,
it doesn't matter at quarterback, so, I mean...
Ewers or Manning or anyone else gets hurt. But if there's no major injuries, there's no way Texas doesn't win by at least 3 touchdowns. I think they cover that easy.
Yeah, I would put money on Texas to cover 14.5. What about you?
I don't know if, because it's a rivalry game, I don't know about 14.5, but I definitely think Texas wins this game.
And I would probably go with the over. I mean, I don't know what the over-under is, but just go with the over.
Yeah.
This
Did you not
game
see
is
the
always a
Oklahoma
shootout.
Tennessee game? I would not go with the over at all.
But this game particularly always goes over. It feels like.
I think Texas more than covers. I don't think Texas puts up 50 like any other games. I think this is in the 40s. Because I guarantee you they have this at like 50 or 60 or something.
Let me tell you, I just had it.
My guess is 56.5
I think this is in the 40s.
I just had
is
this
the
up.
over-under line.
Oklahoma's a good enough defensive team.
The over-under 49.5.
This is, I would take the 40s. I didn't expect it to be that low.
Yeah,
My
neither.
guess would have been like anywhere from 46 to 48.
So do you want? I will take 20 on the over.
Pete's turned into a slimy degenerate.
Yeah, I'll do 20 on.
Yeah!
I'll do 20. Is it 49?
49.5.
So I got 49 or under?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll do 20.
Okay, cool,
I think
cool,
it's
cool,
going to
cool,
go
cool.
under.
Scrambling.
Sweet, scrambling. We'll see.
Colorado's going to get their 5th win.
They just might. Kansas State coming up.
There we go.
So
either way, you're
that's
fucked.
Yeah.
They're the fact that on
$20. Okay, $20.
Oh, gosh.
Hold on, I
fact
need
that
to start working my way back into this.
Save
Hold
your
on.
money.
on week 6, we're talking about Colorado's 5th win is when you know you made a bad bet.
No. Okay, so let's see. We have Colorado, and I guess Shiloh Sanders is coming back from after he had surgery. -4 on the road to Kansas State. Do you want to do a Kansas State bet? I will take Kansas State -4 for another 20.
So I got Colorado +4. Kansas State. Yeah, I'll do it.
Okay, cool. All right, here we go. Woo.
I mean,
You want in on
No,
it?
thank you.
Come on, shake
No,
my
thank
hand.
you.
5, 4, 3.
0.
All right.
I wouldn't be heartbroken if I lose that bet because it supports our main bet.
That's the
So
thing.
I
I'm
have
trying to work
I
my
have
way
to
back
side
in.
with it.
Yeah.
I've got to turn my
And if
100
I-
into 80 or something.
If I
like
lose
that.
it, I'm still up 30. So
There you go.
whatever.
Okay, sweet. And then we have Ole Miss LSU, number 9 Ole Miss LSU. Then it's I believe Ole Miss is a 3.
I don't want anything to do with LSU with Brian Kelly. I want nothing.
3.5 for Mississippi.
Which is unfortunate. I feel like Brian Kelly has kind of made LSU not like that fun, exciting team that they always have been.
Sucks.
It makes you loathe to just the nth degree that just you hate LSU because of
I don't
Brian
think
Kelly.
I would take it that far, but
Yeah, well, I want
it's not
house to burn
it's not
down.
a personal feeling with LSU. I think having Brian Kelly makes them not elite.
yeah,
Like there's a way that I look at LSU outside of personal feelings. Like I look at them as a certain team that belongs with the Georgias and the Alabamas of the world. And then
the Les Miles LSU team.
yeah, like then Brian Kelly took over, and it's like I don't know if you're gonna win this. Like I don't have any faith that you're gonna win this.
Or
You
you'll
can
find
drop
a way to
big game.
excuse your way or
Yeah.
slam your hand on a table.
in a fake accent.
Yeah.
But no, I feel like LSU, the history of LSU has always been like exciting with Les Miles, with Ogeron. It's always been like I can tune into an LSU game and I know I'm going to get something electric.
Yeah. However, Saturday night, 7:30 Eastern, in the swamp, or not the swamp, the whatever the fuck they call their
Death Valley?
Death Valley. Thank you. I love a good night game.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
In Death Valley.
Who are the only 2 first overall number 1 draft picks out of LSU?
Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow.
And
This is tough.
It's a running back.
No.
it's another quarterback.
Another quarterback.
Why?
Not Jaden Daniels.
He was number 2 behind Caleb Williams.
He was, yes.
Oh, number 1 picks
Number 1 overall draft picks
out of
LSU. There's only
LSU.
been 2 ever. Both of them are quarterbacks. Burrow's one of them.
Seems like it was recent, right?
In the last 20 years.
Yeah, 20 years.
Was it he went to the Raiders.
Yep.
What is his name?
That's the point.
Jamarcus Russell.
Jamarcus Russell.
Jamarcus Russell.
Yeah.
There you go.
A white guy would call him Jamal. So Utah.
Oh man, so good college slate. Hopefully, right? I mean, it's like let's just hope that we get
This
some,
is going to be an incredible day of college
Penn
football.
State USC as well, which USC no longer ranked, but still a good game.
But the whole
Definitely
thing
a
is,
game Penn State could lose.
Yeah,
The whole thing is, didn't USC lose to Minnesota last Saturday?
they did.
So when you're going into midseason, you have these things happening, like a Vanderbilt, an unranked Vanderbilt beating Alabama. It's like a midseason slump or a midseason turnaround. USC loses to an unranked Minnesota
USC 5.5.
No thanks.
Okay, USC 5.5
against Penn State.
Yeah,
Who's favored?
Penn State -5.5
Where is it?
At Penn State.
Beaver Stadium.
Beaver Stadium.
So am I taking Penn
Let me
State?
confirm that. Actually, I'm pretty sure it's at Beaver Stadium. Let me confirm.
I'll take any fucking bet right now.
It
And I'll
is. It
clean
is at the
your ass.
Coliseum. Actually.
And Penn State is favored by 5.5.
Yeah, I no longer want that bet. No, I don't know if I want that bet anymore.
Do it. Post.
I'm not sure
Wait,
that I want that bet.
what
Penn
made-
State's
what-
number 4 in the
What
country.
made you back
so-
out of the bet? Because they're still favored. You're still getting USC at plus.
I do, yeah.
Let's do 10. I took the other 2.
Okay, I'll do that.
So I'm getting
You're getting
Penn State -5.5
yeah.
at $10.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
You might want to present. I will say yes to fucking everything right now.
Missouri, Massachusetts. Missouri -27.5.
Massachusetts, UMass.
Yeah, 1 in 5 UMass, by the way. So,
Oh, what team?
UMass is not a football school.
I mean, they have a football team. So.
But here's the thing: USC. Let's say USC beats Penn State, which I don't see happening. That loss to Minnesota will be forgotten. Let's say that. What was the other one? Or Michigan lost to Washington.
Yeah.
Michigan. Who's Michigan playing?
I think Michigan is off this week. If I think they're off.
Bye?
I'm not seeing them. Yeah.
But next Michigan win against a ranked opponent, that loss is forgotten. That's just what happens in midseason in college football. Alabama beats Tennessee. Alabama beats another ranked team. People forget about that shit. And then in week 9, we're looking at a one-loss Alabama team at number 4 in the nation. Doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
Midweek doesn't matter. Or midseason doesn't matter.
Well, I thought I had myself, we've been making a lot of bets. I thought I had myself a smart bet. I teased it just a few minutes ago. I was watching this last weekend's games, and I saw in like the first possession very quickly, Arizona score quickly against the San Francisco 49ers. Kyler Murray runs it in, scampers for like 70 yards, 7-0 very quickly. And the thing is that heading into that game, the 49ers were one of the most heavily favored in by any team in
which I don't know why. Not this season.
Right. And so I in my like very quick thing, I was like, okay, I want to get now a bet closer to just an even match, right? Whether it's like minus 110 or plus 110, whatever it might be. So Arizona strikes quickly, and I go, boom, immediately put a bet on a money line, or I think I got them at minus 2.5 is what I bet the 49ers on to win that game right after they score, right after Kyler Murray scores to start. And I was like, perfect. Got it at minus 112 or something like that. Put like $20 on it. And then towards the end of the game, they're up 10 points with like 8 minutes to go. And so we're driving to a restaurant to get some lunch, a late lunch, and I've got Red Zone on kind of on my phone as we're driving. And I saw the score. They're up 10. And I said, Lindsay, I gotta tell you one of the best bets I had, because earlier on in the day I had put some money on the Jets to actually come back and beat the Vikings in London, because I saw that Aaron Jones had gotten hurt, and I was like, hey, and they made it a game there at the end until Aaron Rodgers threw the interception. I was like, my best bet of the weekend is probably the one that I placed earlier today, and I proceeded to tell her about the situation that I just explained out to you guys. And I was like,
dummy.
And I was like, this is the smartest bet that I did all weekend. And then the 49ers freaking lost that game. Not only did they not cover the 2.5, they ended up losing the game outright.
If you're watching that live, what would make you bet on the Niners?
It was right away. I mean, it was just like kind of a right away. I thought that it was like a value play is what I thought that
but
was.
not that I'm any smarter, but I saw the same thing, and I did. So first I make that alternate spread, right? And I had Arizona at plus 20.5, which was fine. That alternate spread went 14 out of 15. Take a wild guess on who fucked that.
The 49ers?
The Seahawks.
Oh, the Seahawks, yeah.
So here's what's painful. This was my closest one this season. 14 out of 15 legs hit. I had the Seahawks at plus 3.5. It was 23-20. They kicked a fucking field goal.
And it got blocked.
It got blocked.
Yeah.
If it had just gotten blocked, it was covered. But it was returned for a fucking touchdown.
That's right. I mean, it was kind of a net neutral sort of a thing, because that had happened to them earlier in the day.
Completely killed me. I also placed a live bet on Sunday in the afternoon window when I saw that Green Bay were losing, the Broncos were losing, and the Seahawks were losing. I said, I'm going to pick all these teams to win. I'm going to pick Green Bay, Denver, Seattle, and I'm going to take Arizona at plus 13.5. Green Bay starts murdering the Raiders.
Denver was playing the Raiders.
Denver was playing the Raiders.
They were playing the Rams, is the Packers.
So Green Bay started beating the Rams. The Broncos started murdering the Raiders. It was like 34-19. Mm-hmm. Arizona was going to cover for sure.
Yeah.
And ended up winning. And then the Seahawks fucked two parlays.
They did, yeah.
Of a total of $15 wager to win $500.
Bummer. Oh,
those were the two.
That's an ouch one.
No wonder I hate Northwest teams. It's fucking Seattle.
You know,
fucked it.
I saw that Seahawks game as I was like preparing my bets on Sunday, and I was like, if it was like not the Giants, I may have put money on that. It just felt like, because like the Seahawks were like minus 238, minus 240 to win that game. I was like, But then I saw it was the Giants, and I was like, I can't do that. And so I stayed away from it. But still, it didn't feel right from the jump.
Nope.
And let's see, did anything else feel right from the jump?
Let's do another one. We only have $50 on the line. Let's do another 10. I'll take ASU. You take Utah. They're both 4-1.
Yeah.
They're both 4-1.
Braxton's gone now. He doesn't want any part of this. This is a Friday night game, right? I believe this is a Friday night game.
Okay.
Arizona State, right?
It's
in
at
Utah.
ASU.
It's at ASU.
They're both 4-1.
Yes.
I don't know. I'm going to assume Utah's favored.
Yeah, let's double check that. We've got Utah -6 on the road against ASU.
Let's do. I rewarded you with two $20 bets. You rewarded me back. Rewarded me back with a $10 bet with Penn State. Give me 3 points, and I'll take ASU against Utah.
Wait, you want 9?
No. I'm giving you 3.
Oh, okay.
Instead of 6, I'll do 3.
Okay.
So you're getting Utah -3 for $10.
Okay, cool. All right, cool. Huh?
No thanks.
Okay.
How does it feel to be a bitch?
Yeah.
Great.
It's very one-sided. Are you going to be part of it? We've got some NFL
Do you know what
games
this
to
is
cover.
about? This whole thing. Do you know what this is
Yeah,
about?
it's a betting podcast.
Because I'm still very much considering the $100 that I'm probably going to.
What makes you think I'm entertaining a measly 100 for Ohio State? I need to make my money back. That's $1,700.
That's a great
total.
step towards that.
Yeah.
100 doesn't make a dent in 1,700.
You got to start somewhere, brother.
You're gonna need to put up more than 100.
We're going to get to a couple of breakout games from the NFL coming up. But first, we need to talk about, and I had talked about my bet on the Jets. Turns out that the Jets are now head coachless. Well, now they've got an interim head coach.
Scapegoat.
Firing Robert Saleh,
Scapegoat.
escorted out the building, allegedly, unable, or they wouldn't let him talk to the team, and he finds himself without a
Scapegoat.
job.
That's a scapegoat firing.
So who's the interim?
The interim is their defensive coordinator. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. There were rumors that were going around that Robert Saleh had planned to actually demote, if not fire, Nathaniel Hackett earlier in the day. The first name of this coach is escaping me. I think his last name is Downing. Was going to be the guy to call the plays instead of Hackett. And then they were also going to fire Nathaniel Hackett, was the other rumor. And then it turns out that Robert Saleh got himself fired. He's going to be making $10,000 or $20,000 a day for the next 3 years.
Wonderful.
So
That's a scapegoat firing.
love that. And
That's
that
an Aaron Rodgers firing. That's
Yeah.
what that is.
it's an Aaron Rodgers,
100%.
and it's a product of their own unrealistic expectations as well. I mean, like, they came in and we were sitting here on this couch talking about within our division bets, although our original one has not borne out. I was like, I don't see the Jets at 11.5 wins this year.
No.
Here's the thing that I would be the first one to admit. I'm not like a head coach supporter. I'm not like against every head coach firing. I understand most of them, but him getting fired without Rodgers. So we're talking about a pretty bad record. It was like 26 to 50, like 26 wins and 53 losses, right? This guy's never had a quarterback. He's had
Other than Mike White.
Mike
obviously.
White, Zach Wilson,
Joe Flacco.
but this is the first
Flacco,
year that he
yeah.
had Rodgers, an
Yeah.
aged Rodgers, right? He had a top 3 defense last year. A Jets team that were good enough to possibly squeak into the playoffs without an offense, right? Now, you've had a below mediocre season, and you point the finger at him, not the quarterback who's completely underperformed
Yes.
this season, not the play caller in fucking Hackett who's completely fucked up the entire season. Those are the first 2 I would look at before I get rid of them. Now, on the other side of that, I have never thought that Robert Saleh has been a great head coach.
No.
I think Robert Saleh, if he just stick to being a DC, he would have been a Steve Spagnuolo. I mean, he would have been a legendary fucking defensive coordinator if he had to stuck with the Niners or go to a place like the Chargers with Harbaugh. That's his position. He's not a good head coach. But still, I think this scapegoat firing is bullshit. You can point the finger at 2 people before you get to them.
No, I 1,000% agree. My disdain for Aaron Rodgers on this podcast is not unrealized by
Not at all.
anyone. And so, but, again, to your point, you have a guy in Aaron Rodgers who is, your franchise right now quarterback, and you're going to side with him because there is less time that he has had to mess things up than Robert Saleh has, right? And again, to your point, who he has had at quarterback, all of those things, right? I think that when Aaron Rodgers was traded to the New York Jets, Robert Saleh must have known that he was on borrowed time.
Yeah. His clock started ticking for sure.
Immediately.
It's just
This was an inevitability.
Yeah.
It's wild that Garrett Wilson has had one good game this season. It's wild that Breece Hall's nowhere to be found. That's not on Aaron Rodgers. That's on Nathaniel Hackett. What are you doing? You have Breece Hall.
And you got Braylon Allen, who's no one to sneeze at either in your backfield.
Whereas, like, fantasy football is it's for fun. But those rankings, they mean something because they get pulled from people who study and do research.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason why Breece Hall was in the top 3 because he should be used that much. He's a fucking workhorse. Hackett has not paid any attention to him at all. Garrett Wilson had one good game, and it was Sunday morning. That's his first good game this season in 4 or 5 weeks.
But, I mean, the Jets hitched their wagon to the Jets, or the Jets hitched their wagon to Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers has Nathaniel Hackett on his theoretical wagon here. Mm-hmm. So,
I've never seen a more overrated player than Aaron Rodgers, riding 1 Super Bowl and 1 MVP season.
He's had
I think he's had 2 MVPs, but whatever. Yeah.
Okay, in what, 15 years?
Sure.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy's been riding that 2 MVP awards and 1 Super Bowl, and he's been like, he's not the elite quarterback that he was in 2010. It's insane.
Yeah, no, I 1,000% agree with you. And so, again, Robert Saleh going to be finding his way to $20,000 per day, which equates to almost $600,000 per month. And
you know where I think he would kill it? With Harbaugh, the Chargers.
Is it DC?
As a DC for the Chargers with Harbaugh, I think they would be a 2-headed monster.
I mean, those are both two very good defensive-minded guys.
They are, but those 2 together, I mean, the Chargers' defense would be fucking insane.
Yeah, and I mean, like, Saleh was incredible when he was with the 49ers. I mean, that was, obviously that's where he made his name. DeMeco Ryans, though, was also there in San Francisco and has been a very successful head coach. Maybe he's riding a little bit of that wave there with C.J. Stroud.
There's so
now
much
defeating the Buffalo Bills.
There's so much luck with this shit, though. Like, you can't deny that there's a lot of luck when it comes to this shit.
Yeah.
DeMeco Ryans, great fucking guy, great coach, but to run into C.J. Stroud, who performs better than a Bryce Young, to run into a Tank Dell, a Nico Collins.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
Joe
fucking
Mixon.
luck here, man.
Mixon hurt, obviously, but still.
But speaking of that Houston-Buffalo game, what the fuck was Sean McDermott doing at the end of that game?
It was insane, right? Like, I mean, the play calls that they had to throw the ball to stop the clock.
That was 3 throws in a row, essentially from your end zone. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, and then you give the ball back, you kick an extra long field goal, and they hit it. It was...
That, I mean, Like I was watching it on Red Zone, and even what's his name? I forget his name.
Scott Hansen.
Yeah, he was like, "Oh,
what are you doing?
The Bills, we assume they're just going to kneel it out here, and then they weren't." And he was like, "I have no idea what's going on with the Bills. What are they doing?"
Yeah, because the Texans effectively killed themselves from. They had to play for overtime.
Yeah,
the Texans were just screwed there, and they were like, "Well, I guess we're playing for overtime here." And then the Bills just gave them a freaking lifeline.
Gave it right back.
Yeah. What's even more egregious, and I know that we're talking about that, we all witnessed Josh Allen get knocked out on the turf, right?
Yeah.
We all saw him go unconscious, limp,
smash his head.
Face drags on the turf, and then they give him a smelling salt, and they go right back in. There you go. It was. We've talked about Tua and everything.
Did you not read his lips? Did you not see what he was saying on the bench?
I didn't. No.
There's a bunch of videos of it where they just had the camera on a close-up on Josh Allen.
Yeah.
And the whole time he was saying, and this did not go well with other people, he was just saying, I ain't no Tua. I ain't no Tua.
Oh, no.
He was just saying.
Did he actually?
But right before he was handed the smelling salt,
yeah,
he was trying to go in there, and they were trying to shove it in his fucking face so he could sniff it.
Yeah.
And he goes, I ain't no Tua. I ain't no Tua.
We talk about
that's bad.
Yeah,
not great.
And so, who is that?
I made that shit up.
I knew that you would have said. You know what? I knew you would have. I was like, "There's no way."
Fuck you, Miguel.
Yeah, that's a not.
That's not good. That's not good.
Talk about malpractice.
I should have known. Josh Allen's a classy guy.
He's classy guy.
That's why he's fucking Haley Steinfeld in the butt.
See, allegedly he said that. Don't get us in trouble, Juan.
Wouldn't you?
But
I'm not against that part.
You talk about malpractice once again. Not only did the Buffalo Bills training staff allow, no one from upstairs was like, "Wait, what's he doing?" No. You've got to get him off the field. It's insane that we all witnessed that, him slam his head on the turf, and then less than 2 minutes later, after C.J. Stroud throws an interception, he's back in or whatever.
And honestly, if I think Mitch Trubisky is their backup, if Mitch was in there, they probably would have taken the knees.
Yeah, probably. My goodness.
What was the best game of this weekend?
The best game of the weekend was the Ravens-Bengals. A game that goes into overtime. Play of the year also with Lamar Jackson just scampering all around in the backfield, tossing it just into the end zone.
You know what was
great?
great?
Insane.
What I took out of that game and that back and forth, which was 41-38. I think it
41-38 was the final. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bengals now 1-4.
Regardless of their record, the best thing I took away from that game is seeing old Joey B.
Joe Burrow, 30 for 39, 392.
It was the Joe Burrow,
5 touchdowns.
Ja'Marr Chase, T. Higgins, the Bengals that everyone expects since he came, that every season.
Ja'Marr Chase 10 for 193 and 2 touchdowns.
I tell you what,
it's nice to see.
Because I totally agree with you, and I think because of their record in these next few weeks, you're going to get some favorable odds on the Bengals. I would definitely throw some money towards the Bengals these next 2 weeks.
Yeah. That's how you lose them, because they're not going to keep that up. But of all the games, I don't see anyone beating the goddamn Chiefs.
Yeah,
no one's beating the Chiefs. This happens every season.
Who
for the last
have they
5
played
years.
though?
Who gives a fuck? That's not an excuse
You're in
you
the
can
NFL.
make for them.
I just don't.
This is the pros.
Listen. I agree.
Hold on.
But
who have they played? They
beat the Ravens.
They beat the Ravens. They beat the Bengals. They beat the Falcons.
1-4.
The Falcons, the Chargers, and the Saints.
The Saints are front runner to win the division.
Okay.
You're talking. Did you watch the game last night?
Yes.
How many times should Mahomes have been sacked? How many fucking times? If you watch the entire game.
Yeah, more times than
there
he didn't.
Should have been at least 6 or 7 sacks last night. But he's too shifty.
Yeah.
You can't sack him. They lost Pacheco. They lost Rashee Rice, probably for the season. Pacheco will probably have 6 or 7 weeks left when he comes back. They get Kareem Hunt to come back from the Browns, right? They get 100.
He wasn't on the Browns. He was sitting at home.
Well, his last team was Cleveland.
Yeah.
You get Kareem Hunt. You get a guy like Carson Steele. You get Xavier Worthy, which was what a steal of a fucking pick, like everyone has been saying. Kelsey has a good game. It doesn't matter what you do to this team or what happens to this team. They will find a way to fucking win because Mahomes is too good. Kelsey's too smart. Andy Reid is probably the best coach in the fucking league.
Yeah, he's got Spagnuolo
You
there.
can't beat him. You can't beat him. I have not seen a team that could fucking beat him.
And you're probably right. I'm in the position where it's like I just want
somebody else.
I want something new. But I will say, watching that game yesterday, and I'll admit, I was putting up curtains in our living room, so I was like listening more than I was watching. But holy shit, and I like Joe Buck, but holy shit, did Joe Buck have Patrick Mahomes' dick so far down his throat? It was disgusting.
The whole thing about I would say both of them, Aikman and Joe Buck, and the whole Taylor Swift thing, the whole Jason Kelsey thing. People are tired of it. You're tired of it? Fucking beat them. Beat them if you're fucking tired of it because they're gonna keep winning.
But it's not. I would get it if you're talking about the Chiefs as a whole, talking about the game in general, how the Chiefs are dominant. But it's literally they talk about no one else. Even when the Chiefs are on defense, I noticed they're still talking about Patrick Mahomes. And it's like, okay, we get it. I just feel like, and maybe you can disagree or agree with this with your background in, sports media and things like that. But it's like, don't you have some type of responsibility to mix it up?
I think
you're so heavily focused on one topic.
But I also feel like with media, your responsibility is to talk about something that people will eat up.
Yeah,
no matter what the response is.
There's Colin Cowherd, a national radio host for Fox.
I'm familiar.
And for those who are unfamiliar, he talks about how he knows that there are probably other things that he could talk about, but he plays the hits. He plays the Rick D's and the weekly top 40s. He talks LeBron, he talks the Cowboys, he talks the Lakers, he talks the Yankees. He talks what just everyone is just feasting on. And the thing is that there is kind of these days when it comes to broadcasting some shamelessness that occurs. We're seeing it in baseball right now, which is a big discussion that's happening right now in the MLB playoffs. Shohei Ohtani and the Dodgers. Shohei is such a draw right now. You know what they have when the Dodgers are playing? They have a ticker on the bottom that says Shohei Ohtani up in 3 batters. Shohei Ohtani up in 2 batters. That's how they're actually broadcasting this game, is to promote said player even when player is not on the field.
And I understand it a little bit more with baseball because it's kind of a dying, as far as professional sports in America, baseball is one of the few that seems to be declining. And Shohei is kind of their only hope and chance of keeping it relevant. So I can almost justify that.
But do you want to talk Derek Carr? Or do you want to talk? Would you rather find your way back to Patrick Mahomes?
Talk about Travis Kelce. Talk about
Are you kidding? Travis Kelce gets the same shit.
You got to admit though, especially towards the end of that game, it was almost 100% Patrick Mahomes. And I want to. Again, I'm not one of those people that are like, I hate Patrick Mahomes. I hate the Chiefs. No, you're
just hearing the same song on the radio and it's getting old.
Yeah, it's getting old.
But
too much Adele.
Let's say that you can't get over the fact that they're playing the so-called hits, the quote-unquote hits, and they're talking about Mahomes. Let's say you can't get over that fact. As a fan, when you're watching him, I fucking get it. That's how good he is. Like, you realize when we watch the Josh Allens and the Lamar Jacksons and the Joe Burrow, we're seeing greatness, and then we're seeing mistakes. I don't see too many mistakes, if at all, with Patrick Mahomes. Last night, he had a play where he rolled to the left, and he was trapped between 4 Saints defenders, and he cha-cha'd out of it. Like he was walking into a sack.
Just a quick 1-2 cha-cha-cha.
Seriously, do you know what play I'm talking about?
Yeah.
He rolled to the left. He was trapped between 3 or 4 defenders.
This was on that third down.
This should have been a sack.
Yeah.
And what he did is he scooted forward and then rolled out back and then got the fucking first down. It was reviewed.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
the
he
one
got
where he
the-
dived?
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Dove.
dove towards the end of the game.
He
Yeah.
went out of what it should have been a sack, and he got that.
Yeah. So
The dude is insane.
All Braxton is seeing is red, and he wants to see Patrick Mahomes go out of style. He's got bad blood for. Do you see what I'm doing here? I'm doing Taylor Swift songs, you assholes. Jesus Christ.
Where are the assholes?
Dude. Gay.
That's two weeks in a row.
You're gonna keep doing it. It's gonna keep coming.
You freaking assholes. So
No, I don't know.
If you wanted to stop, I mean, get the Browns to beat them.
And yeah, good luck.
Get the Browns.
I just, and maybe this is again recency bias, but I just don't remember it being quite like this with Brady.
Oh, it
What?
was. Oh, it was. Yeah.
Not only
And
was it,
again, I said maybe I'm totally
not
think you're
only was it
wrong.
like this with Brady, but between the years 21 to 23, outside of Brady, the reason I hate Josh Allen today is because it was like this with Josh Allen. Like how you're viewing Patrick Mahomes, it was absolutely like this with Josh Allen. It was. And it wasn't as deserved as Patrick Mahomes.
Here's what I'll say. Maybe outside of the game, like on the Talking Heads, ESPN, yes, I can agree with that. But literally
In the
as you're
broadcast.
calling the game, I don't think it was.
Yeah.
Sock up, get over it.
Okay.
Beat
I
'em.
am.
I don't know if he can.
I'm over it.
I don't know if he can sack up or get over it when it comes to his Cleveland Browns. It looks like
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson has quit on his team. I know there's a.
They should quit on him.
You have
fucking rid
5
of him.
seconds to name the NBA equivalent of Deshaun Watson. 1, 2,
I don't know.
3, 4.
Ben Simmons.
Ben Simmons.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Sure.
Get fucking rid of him. Put
Yeah.
Jameis in.
So
Put Jameis in.
So I know that there was like a lot. There was that one play, the 4th down play, that really comes to attention. Apparently, there were 12 men on the field, but it looks like Deshaun Watson quitting, walking off on the team, and it is, as an optics guy, terrible optics.
Terrible
And,
optics.
It just. I want to give you the floor to talk about your Browns here.
I mean,
They
I
suck.
I wish there was more to say besides exactly what Miguel said. They suck. And Deshaun Watson, you've made a bad business decision. Not necessarily the worst business decision
It is
in the
worst.
in the NFL,
It is the worst.
but definitely like top 3.
It's the worst.
Either way, it's bad.
It's so bad.
It's so bad.
It's the worst contract in NFL history.
But, I mean, the fact of the matter is, and this is a sad realization, is like this is not new waters for Browns fans. We've been through this type of shit time and time again. And so I think that there's a unfortunate acceptance of, not going to happen this year. We're looking towards the draft. Looks like we're in a position to get Shador. You know what I mean?
The acceptance comes from like
History of sucking?
Getting used to punishment. Like a team being below mediocre most of the time. But to Peter's point, the thing that Browns fans are used to of like being disappointed and being frustrated and underachieving is completely different this year because they've also never spent this much money on potential. They spent the most money ever in franchise history on a guy that should save them. And not only is he underachieved, he's almost been the fucking cancer. Like, he is the reason why they're losing. And there's never been that much money tied to it. It used to just be like, we suck. We suck again.
We missed on a number one
suck
quarterback.
Again.
It's, whatever.
We didn't make the playoffs.
Draft evaluation.
And you're absolutely right.
But at least you weren't investing that much money into it.
Yeah, you paid godlike money for someone to do this.
If they cut him today, they would have $172 million of dead cap on their
Which
books.
affects you as a franchise for
years.
That's the biggest fucking mistake.
Whether they pay for it or not, they will reap what they sow for the next 3 years.
You get them.
I don't know what to tell you guys. I know.
It sucks.
Yeah, it sucks. What are we gonna do? Do we force him to play, or do you just move on to Jameis and take the hit? You pick up Shedeur Sanders or somebody, in the draft next year, and you continue forward. I wish there was more hope and positive energy that I could give to this. I was literally at the Weezer concert on Sunday night, and
they're not even as big as Radiohead.
Okay, shut up.
Or Blink-182.
Shut up. Anyways, I kept on going back to the same bartender because we were in the club level, and there wasn't very many people, so I kept on going to the same guy, and we were talking, and he was a Browns fan, and it's this same attitude. It's this fucking sucks, but
we can't do anything about it.
I don't think there's really any true path to fixing the situation. There's no true problem solving to this. It's just okay, we just kind of have to grit our teeth and get through the season, go to Jameis, who will be exciting for a little while, but we're still going to lose a lot of games.
I don't even think it's something where you're you just look forward to a draft pick like Shedeur and get that. Last year, Deshaun Watson barely played.
Yeah.
And the Cleveland defense were able to pull through and win enough games. Didn't they make the playoffs?
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
So
Kevin Stefanski is a 2-time coach of the year.
Kevin Stefanski is a really good coach. That defense still got juice in it. Nick Chubb's about to come back. I don't think you give up on this season. I don't think this team wins a Super Bowl. But I don't think this team is not capable of making the playoffs.
You just have to moneyball your way through the next 3 to 5 years.
I think for this season alone, not thinking about future years, you get rid of Deshaun Watson, because what Deshaun Watson is affecting is not just the offense. He's affecting the morale of the defense.
Yeah, don't just sit him. Tell him to go home
You
and
get
don't
rid of
show
Deshaun
up.
Watson. You put Jamison. You put new energy, new scenery.
Yeah.
Nick Chubb comes in. That defense gets rejuvenated. Amari Cooper probably goes back to his old form.
I think
that's the Cleveland you're looking for.
That's literally the only hope for a positive outcome from this season, is just exactly as you explained. Because I do think that having Chubb come back is worth a lot. But I think you combine that with, the front office also making the decision to just get Deshaun out of the building. Not cut him by any means, but just say, hey, dude, you're obviously not invested. Go home. We got it from here.
Yeah, it is not enough to sit him. It is not enough to make him inactive. It is to make his key card into the building inactive.
And you also have to make a decision. If you're not willing to move on from Deshaun Watson and you're going to keep playing him, you might as well not bring Nick Chubb back.
Agreed.
You're riding on that running back. Let him get healthy. If you're not going to take Deshaun Watson out, then let Nick Chubb sit out the entire season too.
Yeah.
Let him be healthy for next season.
Yeah. It is not enough to just sit him. They have to absolutely wash their hands of this guy.
I want to know what your guys' take. Do you ever listen to Shannon Sharp and Ocho Cinco's podcast? It's fucking great. The Nightcap.
Yeah, I've more so recently because of the Instagram live situation that happened there with Shannon Sharp going live, and then he is...
Oh, yeah, there's been fucking great comedy since after that. Yeah. They had Deion Sanders. They had Prime on. Did you watch that one?
I did, yeah. It was pretty great.
And Deion Sanders was watching him, and, Ocho Cinco was just dying. He was making fun of him for going live while he was fucking, and they were talking about how could Ocho Cinco coach? Could he teach what he knows?
Oh yeah, and he was
he's like, you think I could come coach in Colorado? He goes,
no.
Could you teach what you know? And then they were going back and forth, and then Prime goes, well, I think I could suit up in some cleats too. And Ocho goes, not with 8 toes. and Prime logs off. He's like, fuck you.
Yeah.
And then they've had Karl Anthony Towns, that's always comedy because of his fucking voice.
Yeah.
But in the most recent one was an actual conversation that I found interesting with Ocho Cinco was ragging on players today. He goes, look at all of these top performers that are hurt. Christian McCaffrey. You have people that are hurt. You have the number 1 running back for San Francisco that now has tendonitis in both knees. We don't know what the fuck's going on. People are relying on him and waiting on him. And he's like, and Ocho Cinco's like, I don't know how you guys feel about this take, but I ate a fucking Big Mac before every game. That was my diet. My diet was McDonald's. And now we have nutritionists and specialists telling you what to eat and what not to eat.
Right, yeah.
And now we got all... And this could be like a tinfoil take. Like, Ocho's not smarter than fucking science type deal. But he's like, now we have all these soft tissue injuries from these weak-ass fucking bones, from these weak-ass fucking players getting hurt left and right.
I hadn't thought of it that way.
And he's like, how many injuries did we deal with back in, the Cowboys-Niners days? Even in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
People weren't going down as much. Now people aren't eating meat. Now they're on plant-based diets. Now they're on fucking vegans, vegetarians, and now they're getting injured week 2, week 3, week 4.
Yeah, wow. I think they're...
Because I hate vegans, I tend to agree, but I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, I mean...
You have to entertain it, even though it might be wrong. But
yeah.
It's...
Big Macs put a little bit more than soft tissue on you. That's for sure. Look at us.
I mean, eating shit off
Great
the ground
thought
builds your
experiment.
immune system.
It's a great thought experiment for sure. We'll take it into consolidation.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, I know.
You might have a point.
You know what? They should do a case study in which, some people don't and some people do, and then.
Yeah, they just choose one team every year at random that can only do McDonald's.
Yeah, just to select, just like random drug testing they do
meat.
around the league. Everyone has to do that.
Yeah.
Can we at least all agree? You need meat.
Yeah.
If you're playing football, you need fucking
I'm
meat.
pro meat.
You need protein.
Yeah. You
I'm
need
pro
a ton
meat.
of protein.
He did have a lot of people respond, though, and said, McCaffrey's been overworked since he was a kid.
My gosh.
Like, from his dad to Stanford to Carolina to San Francisco. Like, his workload last season was even surprising that he lasted all season without getting hurt.
It was pretty surprising. Yeah. The other thing about Ocho Cinco, you see that I think this is true that he's gonna fight James Harrison.
Terrible idea.
I hope not for his sake.
Yeah, right. Like, I don't know if it's boxing or if it's UFC. I think it's boxing.
It's got to be.
But I'm like,
That's stupid. On
that's not wise to do. I think
Why
that's
wouldn't
right.
he do it against T.O.? That would be way better.
That would be great. I think
I
a lot of
think
people
T.O.
would like to see
even
that.
T.O. would murder.
I mean,
him.
T.O.
a
is
lot bigger.
But
T.O.
they
is
look
one of,
about the same frame. Like, James Harrison is like, get a freaking ambulance right next
I would
to
do
the
Ocho
ring.
Cinco against like Steve Smith or something like that.
Something
Steve
like
Smith
that.
would fuck him up. Steve Smith's got that crazy in him.
Huh.
If you think that, then he would have zero chance against James Harrison. That's crazy and big.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm getting an issue. I have an issue here with the good old DraftKings. I don't know if we can put a bet in, so people might have to check us on @official IJMS.
What, you've lost too many minus
Apparently,
120 picks
yeah.
and you can't log back in?
On at least here on the computer, it's not working. So, you guys will just have to check our picks here coming up.
We have enough college bets. We're good.
Yeah.
We're good.
Notable games this week: the Thursday night game at San Francisco, Seattle, always good for the division side. Let's see, Eagles may stomp the Browns. That's at minus 425. What other good games do we've got going on? The Lions-Cowboys could be a fun game.
That's a high-scoring game.
The Bills and Jets. Do you guys think that Bill Belichick's going to coach the Jets?
No.
People have joked about that, considering
Why
his
not?
history with the Jets. I mean,
Bill
he's got a
Belichick
lot of
is not
history with the
gonna-
Jets, and it's
Bill
probably
Belichick's not going to take over an Aaron Rodgers-led Jets
I
team.
could see him going to the Cowboys. That's probably
That's as far as it goes. Yeah.
That's probably my number one pick for Belichick. Because I feel like I don't know. I feel like it just fits.
Does it just make sense?
It does.
Like a glove.
It just makes sense.
Wow. I don't.
Belichick's done.
I don't think he's done. I didn't see a
He
ton
needs
of.
to-
He's going to college.
He's not
He's
going
done
to
with
do
the
that. He's
NFL.
trying to get the all-time wins record, and he needs to be back coaching to do that. So,
Looking at the NFL matchups this week, I didn't see a lot that was like, oh, this is going to be a great game.
appointment television.
Yeah.
Yeah. It does seem like kind of an okay week of just like,
But college makes up for it. It's going to be
It does.
probably
It does.
the best week of college football this season, obviously besides, championship weeks and when we get deep into it. But
yeah. A lot of divisional games this upcoming weekend. Again, 49ers Seahawks. Then you have the Commanders Ravens. That's the same one, right? Nope. Just kidding. Okay, but the Colts Titans are
Commanders Ravens.
The
Do you not want to
Bucks-
watch Jaden Daniels?
against Lamar
I mean, that's a
Jackson.
good game.
That's a great game.
But my point is that there's like 3 good games.
Yeah, I want to watch any Commanders games just because I want to watch Jaden Daniels. I mean, he's fucking tearing it
He's
up.
fun to watch.
Yeah,
Would
and
we-
juxtaposed against Lamar Jackson for sure.
Would you say is NBA off season done when preseason games start? Or is that still off season?
I think it's still off season. I think opening night is
So opening night is October 22nd.
yeah. I mean, it hasn't stopped people from already saying, like, the headline of ESPN today was like, Bronny's not ready.
Well, he's played in the G League. That's not what I'm bringing it up, but opening night is October 22nd. If there's anything brewing, any moves, I mean, it's October 8th. It's probably not happening
nothing's happening.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you lost the bet.
Did he? What's the bet, you think?
He said Kevin Durant was going to go back to
Oh,
the
yeah,
Hey,
that's
we
not
still got
good.
time.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we'll see.
Kevin Durant going back to the Thunder.
We still got time.
Yeah. This is going to be, and again, like to your point, there are some NBA preseason games that are happening. The Blazers already shutting down their guys. Shutting down meaning their guys are already hurt. Shaedon Sharp's already hurt. Blah, blah, blah. We're not even into, the first couple weeks of training camp. When we look at this year, there is going to be such a drastic difference between teams that are good and teams that are just absolute trash. And it's all thanks to your boy from Duke,
Jason Tatum?
Cooper Flagg.
Oh, they're all tanking.
Everyone is tanking for this guy this year, and it is going to be like, I mean, when you think about like the Blazers this year, which are very much wanting to position themselves for a guy like Cooper Flagg, you're going to see a Blazers team like with 10 wins.
But it doesn't make any sense. Like when you tank in the NFL, you're guaranteed the first pick.
Right.
And NBA, it's still a lottery. It's still a bingo
It is
ball.
still a lottery.
So it's like you're
Your
not guaranteed.
odds are better
him.
the worse you are. I know that it's not a guarantee, but I mean, like, and that's kind of the thing, though, is that like even still, what's the point? So there's going to be a handful of teams that go for it, but I feel like when I look at the NBA this year, there is going to be such a difference between the good and the bad this year, more than we've ever seen it. Not ever, in recent memory.
And players in different jerseys. Like seeing Clay with Dallas is going to be weird.
Yeah, for sure. So the teams that are going for it are going for it. The teams that are nowhere, I just don't see a lot of teams in the middle this year is kind of where I'm going
That's fair.
with it.
Which means college basketball is going to be fucking exciting.
Yeah. And to your point, like, again, you don't get Cooper Flagg, this is going to be a deep draft class, according to a lot of experts. So
Yeah, there's at least 3 from Duke. If you don't get them, there's another one.
yeah,
And
so I
then there's
mean,
another
like,
one.
so again, you're looking at like your potential to actually like get either another franchise guy or a generational talent. You might as well suck and suck hard. And that's
the
what
Blazers,
we do here at It Just Makes
The Blazers will. The Blazers will.
So that's all I've got for you boys.
Sounds great.
Let's eat.
And who would have thought, again, that when I said, will Robert Saleh be the head coach of the Jets in a month, and will Deshaun Watson be the starting quarterback in a month? And that was just last week that I asked that question.
You're on top of it, Pete.
Well, we
Bill Belichick
made
will
our
be
way in just
the
1
Oregon
week,
State Beavers coach next season.
Ooh.
Mark it down. Bet?
Jesus Christ. Clear eyes.
4!
Can't lose.